Yes, hello guys. Today we're going to be breaking down a little bit about transfers so that you guys can understand what really happens and how registration also happen in the football world. So I'm Gaucho Brian, licensed FIFA agent. So I'm going to be giving you these tips a little bit so that you can understand also when you're signing or when you're about to go into the business of an agent. This also content also involve people like sporting directors and also people working in football clubs so that you can have an idea also. Although I think you guys also are well equipped, but this is for everyone involved in sport. So as I said, let's see. So we'll be talking about what is registration period, when a transfer allowed, and the exceptions out of the transfer window, or if COVID also happen, what can be the rule. So the first thing is registration period and basic rule. What is the basic rule of registration period? Players can only be registered during two fixed annual windows. So as you guys may know, two fixed annual windows, but I'm going to break it down also. These windows are set by football association, their football association, and it's being maintained throughout the football pyramid. The male and the female actually competition might have different dates. The male and the female, they might have different date. So let's take, for example, think of this as an official transfer window. All registration, whether domestic or international, usually happen during this time. So let's take, for example, whether it's international transfer. Let's give an example. Premier League is a league that many people actually know. So whether it's international transfer or national transfer, they usually happen during uh, let's say when the season finishes from May and the transfer window opens like in June. You can start signing up because the transfer window opens when you the moment the season finish. The next day you can start signing your players if you have your chance. That's when the transfer window is like open. So normally let's describe what so the first period, it starts the day after the previous season ends. So if you have a pen and paper, write it down. So that's when your transfer window starts. So if your season ends today, then tomorrow you can start looking at players to sign them. So what is the duration of this? So it can be like it's 8 to 12 weeks. So what is 8 to 12 weeks is 12 weeks is 3 months, 8 weeks is 2 months. So 8 to 12 weeks, that's the first period. So let me give it into a way that you people understand. Let's take, for example, when we go through the summer transfer window is almost like it's only 3 months period. So that's the longest transfer period because you make sure you get you make sure you do your good deals, your transfers and everything. And then also, I'm just trying to give an example like the Premier League. Then when it comes to the winter transfer window, which is usually always like January, which is like 1 month, for example, like that. So like how so that's how it happens. So let's take for example 1 month, which is like 4 weeks. So but anyways, the first transfer window, as I said, is 8 to 12 weeks. It can be 8 to 12 weeks. It can be minimum that's between this time, 8 weeks to 12 weeks. So it has to be inside this period. Then the second period, which is mid-season, which is like, for example, the normal football, it happens always in January like that. For those playing ball, for those competition going on in England and every other places. But for example, places like Finland is quite different because their seasons are Finland, Scandinavian countries, their seasons are quite different because of the winter. So this period is almost like it's called mid-season. It's the duration is 4 to 8 weeks. So, so remember the first is 8 to 12 weeks, and the second is 4 to 8 weeks. Totally, when you put all together, it will give you a combined period of 16 weeks. Your transfer window altogether has to be a combined period of 16 weeks altogether. So moving on, let's go for okay. So let me just give an example explanation. So clubs and agents must plan around these dates. Remember, it's not open all the year. There are clear limits to avoid chaos in competition. So you as a club, you plan around these dates, and also with your association, whether you are in UK or Spain, where the normal season goes on. you plan everything okay, so that your transfer window is good. Same like the countries like Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Scandinavian countries, their transfer windows are different because of the winter. They plan their seasons also differently, but it falls into the rules and regulation of FIFA that it must maintain this date. So I hope everybody understands this. Okay. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the transfer matching system deadline. So first, all associations must enter the dates into the transfer matching system at least 12 months in advance. So these dates, as we're talking, 4 to 8 weeks and 8 to 12 weeks, must be entered by the associations. That means, like I said, like the FA, already 12 months in advance, making the clubs in that country know that, okay, this is our transfer window. This is how we are going to function. This is when you can buy players. This is when you cannot buy players. Everything should be structured like that, so that the clubs who are playing in that league already should have an idea that this is when the transfer window is open. So if they don't, FIFA sets the dates for them. That's for sure. So if you don't plan this, if the association don't plan this, FIFA is going to implement the dates for you guys, for the association. So you don't want FIFA implementing the date rather than you implementing and sending the date to FIFA. So the transfer matching system, first, let me explain. It's a FIFA online system that tracks transfer missing the input deadline. So it tracks trans. So let's take, for example, everything you register. If you sign the player, you register it. You do what you register it. The transfer matching system is this system, that online system that tracks every record of the transfer you have done. So it helps FIFA that knows that these things are organized. So any player you sign, you have to also put it there. So let's look at the next thing. Transfer that must happen within this period applies to both nationals and international. So if you're in UK, you can both international transfer and national transfer. If you're transferring a player from Liverpool to Manchester United, for example, it can happen there within this period. If you're transferring a player from Brazil to UK, it happens during this period. Of course, exception exists under certain conditions. So let's see. So normally it's strict, but there are some emergency exits that you can where transfer outside these windows can happen. We're going to see also what are these options. So first of all, if you're enjoying this video, then put a like and also try to ask me questions on what you don't understand, because I think this is also a little bit more complicated for some of you guys who don't know the rules. But the thing is, just pay attention and also try to listen to what I'm saying. You're going to understand a lot of these things. Yeah. So, or you can still watch this video on and on just to learn these things. So let's look at the exception when players can be registered outside of this period, or outside of this period we have spoken about. So let's say if you have contract termination with just or without just cause. A professional, so let's take, for example, a professional who ends a contract with just cause or is unfairly terminated can register outside this window. So FIFA can accept that. Like, let's say if your club mistreated you, or your contract was unfairly terminated, you can go with this case to FIFA and you can register outside this period. Those are the cases. Of course, FIFA checks quickly. Prima facie is a just cause exit before approving. So FIFA will check all these kind of things to see that, okay, this guy or this player is in this case, so we can accept he registered outside this period with the club. And what I mean just cause means a valid reason for, let's take for example, unpaid wages. Let's say, for example, if you're with your club and the club doesn't pay you, for example, a 2 months wage, and then you give them prior notice, you inform them, they don't see pay, you're right to terminate, to go on, speak with their agent, and you will terminate your contract. That is what we call a just cause, that you have the right to terminate that contract because you have not been paid. The contract the contract demands have not been met. So let's look also another one, also a free agent. Players whose contract expire naturally or were mutually terminated before the window closed may register after the transfer window also. So, but timing matters. If you are a free agent before the window ends, you have a bit of more flexibility. So these are the things that you can also consider players who can register during this time. Another one is temporary replacement for pregnancy, family leave, or female players. Let's give an example. A female player can be signed outside this transfer window to replace someone on a pregnancy leave. You can, yes. So if someone is going on pregnancy leave, you can replace someone with that another player. Adoption leave, you can replace someone. Or family leave, you can replace someone with that. So let's say if you have a player playing for your club, then he is going for pregnancy leave, which is called, let's say, maternity leave, which is going for maternity leave. Now, if the transfer window is not open, you as a club has the right to go and look for a player and replace in this period, because those are natural things those are, let's say, natural life things that FIFA has given freedom. That, of course, if a player leaves your club, was an important player, then is pregnant, you people can bring in another person to replace that player. So then next, let's look at returning from leave. So if a player, let's take for example, a player also returning from leave, he can also be registered back into the system with outside the transfer period. So these are the exceptions that I'm trying to give you. Let's say post pregnancy, he comes back and the transfer window is closed. The female player, she comes back. The transfer window is closed. She has the right to register. Another thing also is COVID, the COVID period. Let's say if your contract was ended during COVID time, and then let's say you are having COVID, then after that time, when you let's say you took long for your COVID to finish, then before you want to come back, the transfer window has closed. You can still register. You can still register in. So these are the few exceptions. So I just wanted to give you guys these details clear. So, but if you don't understand, try to go through and understand also it, because these are very important thing for an agent to understand, all those dealing with transfers. So that's why I wanted to give you guys a little bit of these tips. So today I will not be long, but tomorrow you'll see me again. So I'll leave you guys from here. I'll leave you guys here. Hope you understood, or you understood what I'm saying. If you don't understand something, always try to leave a message, and I will see in the comment section I explain. Tomorrow I'll be back to give you more details on this, and we'll look at other things. So keep following, because let's take for example this. So when you follow this, you don't really need to read a lot of the books, because I'm giving you guys a lot of details, and I want to always apply real life situations so that you can always understand what applies in the real world when it comes to football. So yeah, that's it. Anyways, take care. It was nice chatting with you guys, or you all. Take care and cheers.